just have to go inside and you find something that makes you happy, whatever it is, and then you just let it out.
But improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.
Stars shining bright above me. Night breezes seem to whisper sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Night breezes seem to whisper dream a little dream of me.
What's going on, brother?
In the words of Michael Seville, another day, another way.
Listen, we are back at it and blessed to be in the place. I am Michael. Okay, for those of you who don't know me, Michael Seville, real estate Mike, operating out of Palm Beach County, Florida. And of course, I have the host with the most, the motivatorpreneur, the one, the only, the incomparable,
Oh man, that's
Elder Joe Simmons. What's going on, man?
hey, everything is everything. Glad to be here with you. You know that. I'm definitely grateful to be here with you, my brother, and glad to be able to see all of the lovely people to some degree.
Well, as they fall,
Ah!
whether we see you now, later,
Now, later,
you're
whatever.
checking us out later, we appreciate it. Appreciate the people who helped put this show together. Welcome to Community Beacon.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Welcome.
Welcome to Community Beacon. Our focus here is liberty. It's a place where we're talking about lessons discussed. We're teaching that will create openings to a more. I'm going to read it right off. Let me do it perfectly. And talk will create openings to a more open and freer mindset. That's big. A mindset where you may reach the height of your potential. And not only that, but we want you to excel as well. So we welcome you. Feel free to chime in on the conversation. We're not saying that we know it all, but we know something. We know a lot about something. We know a little about a lot, but we're here. So appreciate you guys while you all are here. Check the ticker at the bottom. Please like and share our message. Of course, as you stream in, whether it's now or whether it's later, say hello. We love
Yeah. So tonight, y'all, we're going to be discussing accountability. That's the topic of the night, accountability. Right. And accountability, that is the fact or condition of being accountable, responsible, obligated. It's the willingness to accept responsibility or account for one person's actions. So y'all know we wanted to discuss this and bring this on up because accountability is major. It's major, especially when you're in business with somebody else, just like Mike and I, we're running this thing, Community Beacon. And the thing about it is that each one of us have to play a particular part. We have to come up, we have to show up, we have to be able to bring something to the table. We are depending on one another to be able to bring something to the table. So accountability is huge. But let me just put this out there before we dig in this really deep. You got to be accountable for yourself. I mean, some people out there, they got their own business. He's a real estate agent, and he's been doing that by himself for a long time. And then he expanded, and has people that are working with him, as a CPR instructor running Saving Lives. I just, as a matter of fact, Mike, I was just telling Mike, I just hired, you know, my quote unquote first employee, right? So shout out to Anna. I'm loving her already. She's amazing. But up until then, it was my own accountability. If I didn't do it, it just did not get done. And that's just the way it was. So if I didn't do it, then I didn't make any money. Accountability is big, y'all, and it's something that you have to take serious. And it goes along with the topic that we did last month on intentionalism, right? Accountability and intentionalism, those are cousins. They live in the same household, though. They're close cousins, you know? So setting up accountability. Let's get it.
I think the first thing that you do when you, and this was interesting because Joel and I just had a meeting yesterday, and some of the things that were brought up during the meeting, it kind of lends to what we're talking about tonight. I think one of the things that you have to do when you first start setting up accountability is like, what is your prime objective? Like, and we speak about it all the time. We kind of say that you need to figure out where, you know, the thing that you're committed to, the objective that you're committed to. You know, you may call it a goal, something that you're committed to, but you start there and then you kind of have to reverse engineer. But this what this helps to set up and the objectives that's leading up to that goal is to let you know that you're not staying stagnant in a certain kind of place. You know, because it's easy for us to be committed to a process that kind of just has us spinning wheels. You know what I mean? We're just spinning the wheels and we're not necessarily going somewhere. But in order for you to have that accountability, there needs to be objectives, goals, benchmarks, really, that you need to pass to show exactly what you're accountable for. What about you, brother? How about you setting up accountability?
I love it. I love it. So I just threw something right there for you to post up on the ticker or however you want to put it. So what we're getting at is you need to adhere to their plan, you know, and that was something that Mike and I were doing. You know, that's something that we put together. Adhere to their plan. What exactly does that mean? All right. So now you're setting up this accountability. It's where am I right now? What am I doing? How is that affecting me? How am I affecting other things? How effective am I? So you have that here. You have that, and basically your here is just you're just putting out what it is you're actually doing. So, you know, for instance, once again, this show, Community Beacon, what are we doing right now? Well, we're showing up weekly. Consistency, that's huge. You know, there's a lot of things that we're going to level up in, you know, and that's in our plan, but that's in their plan. The their part of the plan is like your vision, what you visually see, where you eventually want to be at. And now when you set up the here to their plan, what you can do, like Mike was just saying, is you can reverse engineer it. And what you're going to do is you're going to create pathways. You're going to create pathways. And the best way to create those pathways is actually to go from your vision and work it backwards to the here. So just imagine, I know you've done this before. You've had like a maze, you know, like a puzzle. And many people would go to the start line and they would do their best to work their way around. Now, I don't know why, maybe it was just my brain, but what I would do is I'd actually go to the end. I'd go to the finish. And then I would start to draw outwards or backwards to the beginning, because I always found it was a lot easier to get to the beginning from the end than it was to get to the end from the beginning. So when you set up these visual parameters, this visionary parameter, that doesn't really work, but I need you to understand what I'm saying. It's not a visual parameter because you can't see it, but it's like your vision. And then you set up a parameter, you know, you box that out. You say, okay, this is me. I want to take a snapshot out of my mind of where I see myself, you know, 5 years, 10 years, even a year from now. I'm going to set myself up, and this is what I see happening. Okay, now in order for me to be there, I need to do X, Y, Z, you know, or Z, Y, X. And then I need to keep on working backwards to A, which is maybe where I am at now. And then I start to connect the dots. And from that point, you all remember we set up, we had the video where we were actually talking about, help me out there, Mike. What was that last one we were setting up and we came daily tasks, but dynamic tasks, a dynamic task. What was that? What video was that again, Mike?
The video when we set up the dynamic task, or what you mean the square to show you the four? Is that the quadrants? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm trying to remember where it was. Well, we'll pull it up. We'll pull it up because I think it was like
which show was it?
It was like 2 weeks ago we did that show.
Yeah. The scheduler. It was
the scheduler. Right. So when you're putting together your schedule and you want to set up your dynamic task, and those dynamic tasks are always tasks that will help you get to your vision. You're going to have a lot of tasks throughout the day, but I think it was the time management episode that we did. Time management episode. So y'all go back a couple weeks and you'll see the time management episode. But that helps you to figure out, okay, that's where there is. How do I get to there?
Okay, got it. Makes plenty of sense. But those getting there and those tasks that Joe talks about, and I'm what I'm interpreting is that you're talking about those tasks hold you accountable. If you don't meet those tasks, then you're not being accountable in that time. Is that what I'm hearing?
Right. So true. That's exactly what I'm saying, brother.
Okay. Got it. And we got brother Eusebius Williams. That's chiming in. So I'm hoping we answered a couple of your questions. We answered a couple of your questions with we did give you the definition, the dictionary definition of accountability. And he says accountability to who and why, and we kind of get into that because you got to start off with yourself. You got to be personally hold yourself accountable. And then, man, brother, you got a lot of questions for us.
Now look at that. He said, "How can you be accountable when you yourself are without moral?" So now, remember, let me get on this one right here. And I love this dude. This dude is awesome. So, accountability, right? Now, just getting into that, Eusebius, because you're talking about moral. When you're not moral yourself, and to be moral is concerned with or relating to what is right and wrong in human behavior, right? So you're talking about a moral compass. Now, okay, accountability actually and having a good moral compass, they don't connect. Now, I know that as a man doing his best to be a better man, we want that moral compass to be correct. However, accountability is really us maintaining ourselves in such a way that we can be depended on, right? And even depending on ourselves. So that doesn't always, there's a part of a moral compass that lines up with accountability, but the latitude is not wide. Right? The latitude is not all encompassing of being accountable. And I'll give you for instance, Mike is waking up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm waking up at 5. All right. So who am I accountable to? To answer your first question, I'm accountable to myself. Why am I accountable to myself? Another one of the questions you asked. Because there is a purpose behind what I'm doing. I have a purpose, right? And so we didn't get to the episode that we're going to have soon, which is passion versus purpose. But I have a purpose, and part of my purpose is I want to have better health. I want to be less fatigued when I'm doing some high value activities, right? I want to be able to present myself a little bit better, so I wake up that extra bit early so that I can, meditate, I can work out, I can read, and my idea is to, and Mike gave out this tip a couple weeks ago, is to start scaling it down by 15 minutes. So my accountability level is to me so that I'm able to be superior in my own body, my own skin, so I can be the best me possible by accomplishing all those different tasks and everything. So I'm being accountable to me. That doesn't have anything to do with whether I'm a good father or a good husband or if I'm a good employee. So the moral aspect of it does not always apply. It can apply. And for those of us who want to be that good man, that good woman, it should apply, but they aren't linked together, right?
Right. And I'm because I'm reading the question. I want to make sure I'm reading and understanding it right, brother. It says, how can you be accountable when you yourself is without morals, right? So when I see the word moral, I automatically think of it being subjective. And I think as we get further along in this talk, I think we're going to kind of brush up on what you're talking about in regards to being without morals, because Joel's waking up at 5 and I'm waking up at 3:30 doesn't necessarily make me more morally right than he is. You know what I mean? It's just is what it, or me better or him better. It's just the fact of being accountable, the fact that we set a time for ourselves and that we are responsible for making that happen with or without anybody. And this is just in regards to this personal accountability at this time. So I think it's interesting. I kind of know where you're coming from though, because obviously there's a lot of things going on apparently in the news. I don't really get caught up into the details of it, but and I don't know if you're headed that way, but it kind of got me thinking that way. You also wrote, Brother William, you said a vision plus purpose plus a mission equals accountability. Interesting too, because this was one of the things that we did yesterday, Joel and I, as we had our meeting in regards to Community Beacon. Is a lot of this stuff is what we were speaking about, and it was in tune to this show that we're having in regards to accountability. But I like it. It's very, I like how you do it, because it's like bam, bam, bam equals, and I tend to be a very, very rational person. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so I like that too. I saw that one, and I'm glad you brought it up too. Your mission statement, your purpose. I'm real big on passion versus purpose, and then vision. The three of those things are huge for anybody that is working to make themselves into something greater, or to expose the greatest them that is possible. Knowing what your passion is. Your passion is always the thing that wakes you up in the morning, right? It's the thing that wakes you up. It's the thing that encourages you to do something, whatever it is. It's something that drives you. Your purpose, however, is the reason why you continue to follow that passion. When you unite those two, it becomes a reason, because sometimes what will end up happening with your passion is you can become passionate about something else. But a purpose draws you back into that passion, because you remember that there was a reason why you do what you do. And like I said, your vision is that far off, somewhere, this is where I desire to be. So your mission is almost like your strategy on how you're going to get from point A to point Z, your mission. And many times companies will take that and they'll make that a statement, because it drives the passion directly through the purpose and into the vision. So I love it, because these are the things that you need to help you with accountability. You definitely need those things. So brother, let's start to get on into like this accountability, and I think we should start off with understanding the role, because I think that's where you started just a moment ago. And I think that would be the good starting point, is just understanding the role. And I'm going to drop that right quick. You know what I'm saying? There it is. So I don't know if you want to put a 1 down or whatever. We'll just kind of bounce. So I believe that this is where we need to start, everybody. And when it comes down to accountability, is clearly defining your role, your task, your responsibility, your deliverables. It's hard to be accountable for something if you don't know what you need to be accountable for. So it's very important to define these things. When you're inside of a business, you need to bring that to the table. Mike, I was just having this conversation with Anna, and we were just going over a few different things, and she's pretty bright, so she's bringing up a bunch of points and everything, and it's the exact same thing that you and I were doing yesterday, and it's or not just yesterday, because if you remember, we actually did had that same thing a couple months ago before we even got Community Beacon up and running. It was just like we were defining our vision, and we were defining what it meant to us. And then over time, it was like, okay, well, we need to get more definitive, because your business is picking up, my business is picking up, and it's making it more difficult to be able to dedicate that certain amount of time to make everything successful. So remember, you all, going back a couple of weeks ago to time management, we have to utilize time management wisely, and then we need accountability. So we have to dedicate a certain amount of time to be able to do whatever we commit ourselves to. And Mike he hit that thing hard. He was like, commitment versus goals. Y'all go back and check that out. But that's one of the things, what do we need to deliver? What do we need to accomplish? What do we need to bring? And having that clear scope, that clarity, allows the individual to really be accountable. And I'm kind of curious if Mike's going to start telling us about what are his pet peeves when dealing with business partners, and how he tests whether or not they're a good fit. I hope I ain't set you up with that one, brother.
I think you did set me up with it. Man, Yusuf is asking a lot of questions. Let me see what
that brother's always been. He's you know how he is, man. He's got a lot of thought process. He's really smart, and he's just, man, he's in it to win it.
Thank you. Accountability for the downfall of yourself. You, without right and wrong, can lead to your own deterioration. But with the right and wrong stuff, to me, no, not even to me. Right and wrong is subjective. It's subjective. There are laws that man-made laws that we must abide by. But we have to always remember that everyone is not using the same compass. Everyone's not using the same rule and guide as we do. I think us three having this conversation, kind of go more towards that rule and guide. We know what that is. But everybody, generally speaking, a lot of some of the things that, I've been in I was in a Zoom meeting earlier today, and I thought the way that the person spoke, most people can't handle that kind of speaking, but that's the way that this person speaks, and he's been very successful doing it, but if he goes into another room, it may not necessarily be taken as such. So I get it. But like I said, once again, things that are subjective, it's tough to which like right and wrong can tend to be. It's hard to go back and forth with it.
I want to give an example. I just thought of two people. It's Gary V and Eric. What's his last name?
Thomas.
Eric Thomas, E.T. So the two of them differ tremendously. And Mike, you sent me a video with the two of them talking, and it was interesting, because Gary V, and this is, I don't cuss. I don't really believe in cussing. That's just who I am. That's part of my that's part of the way I do things, part of my belief system, part of my moral compass, that I don't cuss. It's part of my moral compass. However, Gary V, that's not part of his moral compass. I remember hearing him say, people look at him and they question him. They were like, well, what will happen if if your kid said that? And he was like, he didn't care, because he doesn't see anything wrong with it. To him, it's just language. That's it. He doesn't see anything wrong with it at all, you know. And but does that make him any less accountable than ET? No. I mean, they both show up, they both speak, they speak well, they speak from two different points of view. So accountability, I mean, I understand that we're, you know, crunching these things in, you
Right.
know, but accountability is, brother, can you put the definition up?
Can you see it?
Can you put the definition of accountability up there?
Yeah, you can't see it. I'm looking at it.
Oh, yeah, the fact or condition of being accountable. Thank you, brother. Responsibility and obligation or willingness to accept responsibility or account for one's actions. And then I sent you something with the with moral. If you can drop some of that on the screen, it looks like something weird happens around the third one. It says good entry or something like that, but it starts to get into virtuousness. You know,
I'll see how much we can. Yeah, we might.
maybe
It might
you
be.
just get definition one, or you know, up there, and that's fine. So even right there, you know, this is moral, concern with or relating to what is right and wrong in human behavior, moral problems, moral judgment. So these two things aren't the same thing. You know, morals lead to virtuousness, right? Not the same thing. You don't have to necessarily be accountable as far. You know what, brother? I think I know where you headed with this thing. I think I know where you're headed with this thing. You're headed down more of a virtuous type of lifestyle as being accountable, you know, and that's almost like saying, okay, I want to be accountable to the higher state of me, you know, or I want to be accountable to God, and I'm down with that. So what we're talking about more is like a business persona, or you know, which you should still have that good moral compass. I agree with you there, but it does not dictate good business. Not always. You know, now if somebody is shifty and shady and stuff like that, then I guess you would have to consider that. But some of those people still may show up to work on time or an hour early. They may still, you know, they may still do their job and just have a shifty attitude after they get off from work.
I kind of speak about it later on in our notes in regards to, you know, because when we get to accountability with other people, that definitely comes in, because you definitely want to be, you know, you want people who are around you who you're accountable to, you know, possibly going in the same direction. You all have similar beliefs, because you know that tends to bring it all together. But if someone is, you know, shifty people tend to want to be around shifty people. Most people who, you know, don't necessarily want, you know, don't want to be around shifty people, they're not around them. You got some people who are kingdom minded, and I'm using that because that's a buzz kind of word. Kingdom minded businesses that get ran, and they cannot run with a certain kind of people. Not to say that, but both of those businesses can both be successful. You know, you just might not operate the same. Grant Cardone with a TD Jakes, I just don't see them two being together. You know what I mean? For those of you who know Grant Cardone, and not to say that Grant Cardone is a bad person, not to say that TD Jakes is a great person or vice versa. It's just those two people don't necessarily align. So, but let's get back into it.
Let's do it. Let's move.
So you were on understanding the role, and I want to, I guess the next item would be the personal accountability part. And then we kind of touched on in regards to waking up, you know, in a singular way. And the first person that I think that we all need to be accountable to is ourselves, of course. And that's so that we don't play this victim game. It shouldn't be outside of ourselves. We need to be responsible for the space that we allow things to happen, our space. It can't be, why is this, you know, why, oh, woe is me because this happened. You need to ask yourself, how did I put myself in a position to make this happen? Why am I, let me see what I got here. You know, why is it that, you want me to put this up, brother?
No, keep rolling, man. Roll on out.
Okay, yeah. So so because I it's especially in this is something I go through with my son back and forth. because there came a time when he would come to me and say it was the teacher. The teacher was doing this, the teacher was doing that. And I say, well, there's 30 people in the class. Is the teacher doing this to everybody? Is the teacher, or are you the one that this is happening to, or a select few? Oh, well, my friend, and not now you're around these 3 or 4 or 5 people in the class, and you're saying that they do this to these people too. Well, it's 5. No, so those are 5 out of the 25 people. But you guys are the ones who are getting in trouble. You guys are the one that's sitting behind. You know what I mean? At some point in time, you have to take, and this is my conversation to him, is that you have to say, well, why am I around these people? Birds of a feather tend to stick together. And then why is all these bad things happening to these people? I'm going to tell you something that I do. I avoid people with bad luck like the plague. Because things tend to happen, whether it's they put these thoughts out, but they manifest certain things. People tend to, we manifest where we are in our life. We manifest it. There's a saying that I think it was what's my guy's name? Oh my gosh, he writes The Secret, Earl Nightingale. He says we're all self-made, but only the successful will admit it. We're all self-made, only the successful would admit it. That means it's us taking responsibility for everything it is that we do. What say you, brother, about the personal accountability portion of it?
Well, I agree with what you're saying. I think that this is going to be like part of that aspect that Eusebius, Brother E, was starting to dig into, and the thing is, if you want to throw that on up there now, it's like, just what you were just talking about, Mike, with your son, etc. I know somebody that I've worked with, right? This guy right here, there's no telling what would happen. I worked with him before. There was no telling what he would bring, what he would do, which way he would go. It was just rough around the edges. However, he was smart as a whip. I don't. Where does that statement come from? I might be saying it wrong. But it was quick as a whip. Maybe that's more like it. Quick as a whip. And I'll never forget going up to somebody and they said, I know that so and so is such and such and such and such and such and such. And those were all negative things. All the things that they said was that. And then they would say, but if my life was on the line, I wouldn't want anybody else to touch me.
but that guy?
Yeah, that's what they would say, because his specialty was in his knowledge of, of medical procedures and his ability to think quickly and do the job. But now, just as a everyday individual, better watch out. Just like the old, just like the Christmas song, you better watch out. You better not shout. You better not cry. I'm telling you why. This wasn't no Santa Claus. This was somebody else. So to reel in a little bit of that of what Brother E was talking about, being honest with everybody, starting off with yourself. This helps to establish a certain type of rapport. And that rapport is what people will lean on, but given that same circumstance, I never would depend on that individual for anything, to help me personally. But in the thick of it, I expected for that individual to be able to pull out some medical knowledge that just was vast and beyond most individuals that were in the environment. So I would always think about, hey, if I need to ask a question about XYZ done with medical, then, maybe I'll give this dude a call. If I need to ask about anything else, nope, that's it for that. So, like you were talking about birds of a feather, flock together, having that good rapport. And this is that part where you have that moral compass. I believe that helps you to build strong relationships. First with yourself, because you need to trust yourself. You need to be able to depend on yourself. And then secondly, with others that are around you. And that will help you to be able to get through some real difficult types of situations. Like I trust in Mike. 100%. 100%. I trust in Mike so much that even if Mike couldn't do something that he told me he could do, I would believe that it was only because he genuinely couldn't do it or something happened. That would be it. And I can say that right now, even in front of him, and know that he wouldn't utilize any of my words against me because we have that type of rapport. We got it. It's just been proven time and time again that Mike is dependable and he's accountable and he'll make something happen. Even if he's got to go through something to make it happen, he'll do it. So that piece of honesty and like Brother E was talking about, that little bit of that moral fiber. For those of us who have that moral fiber, it's going to be huge. I don't know what they do inside of a gang or whatever, what kind of moral fiber they must be there. But I would imagine that there has to be a strong moral fiber even inside of a gang. I would think so, just flipping the coin on it. You know what I mean? Oh, that's a good one. I like it. Your role is defined by yourself or outside community. So he's asking that question, and it's funny that out of all the people that ask that question, this brother's asking that question. Because he's got something to say about that too. What say you, brother Mike? Come on, man. You're on mute, brother.
Yeah. Initially, you got to know yourself, man. I think you have to know yourself, because if you leave yourself to be defined by the outside and the community, you're liable not to live up to those standards or those expectations. I think you got to go within yourself. You really got to be one with yourself. I'm really huge on introspection. I'm really huge about spending time with yourself. The saying it goes, know thyself. And then when you know thyself, then you can go out and outwardly, affect change, be efficiently affecting change, and also be authentic while doing it. So if I had to answer that question, I definitely got to say your role should be defined by yourself. Do not be molded by, whatever's going on outside right now. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I tend to see that he's definitely going down a certain pathway, because he's got something on his heart right now. And whatever it is, it has something to deal with, that moral compass. And I don't know if there's something that's going on, with friends, family, or work, or whatever, or if this is just something that is truly on his thought process. But, I definitely get it. Your role, I believe your role should be defined by your own personality via your thought process and your heart, your spirit. So go back a month or so and check out our video on groundwork, right?
You keep saying that the episode. That's what got when you said video. I said, did we put a video up? But go ahead, brother.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. But I mean, it's a video now. So check out the episode on Groundworks. My brother, he set me straight, and I appreciate it. So I accept it. Check out the episode on Groundworks, and we talked about foundation building as well, because that's where this question is coming from. Your role being defined by yourself or the outside. Nature versus nurture type of conversation. some of us are definitely dependent on the nature. It's about, and some of us it's all about our community. We're a product of our community, and that goes back to your statement: birds of a feather flock together, or stick together, and you don't always want to be like those that you're around. And if you do want to be like those that you're around and you want to make a positive difference, then maybe you need to change your circles. Sometimes you got to change your circles. You have to ascribe to a higher level of thought and a higher level of mind. And that's what we're talking about here in Community Beacon. It's about liberating or providing the information that helps to liberate people's minds, their thought process. Because there's many of us who have come from that street type of lifestyle, and there are those out there that have come from all money type of lifestyle, and been segregated from other people, not because they were black or white or indifferent, but because they had money. They were segregated by the haves and the have-nots, and that created a different type of community, and that community provided different types of lessons. So it was natural for them to respond and act a certain way, and their role became defined by that. If you have a father, or you have a mother, that is very well off, and they want you to take over the business, they're training you from a little child. They're nurturing you from a little child to grow and grooming you into that position. So the type of individual that you are will be defined by the material that you have been groomed with. But there comes a day in everyone's life when you have the ability to say, hey, listen, I won't go left or right. All right. So let me give you this defining principle, or not principle, but give you this defining moment in time. This example. All right. The Prince of Egypt. All right. Maybe you don't know who I'm talking about by the Prince of Egypt. The Prince of Egypt is considered to be Moses. Moses was a Hebrew child, right? An Israelite. And he was born in the time when the children of Israel lived inside of Egypt. And they were down in the city of Goshen, which was actually a very beautiful land. It was the best of the land in all of Egypt. And they had the best of the land in all of Egypt because of his great grandfather, Joseph. It was more greats than that. I mean, they were in Egypt for 400 years. So it was, just by that number alone, and a generation being 20 years, then there had to have been, about 8 generations, I think it is, 5 for every 100. So that would make it 5, 10, 15, 20 generations that have passed by since Moses was born, from Joseph to Moses. Anyway, in that time, his parents decided that since Pharaoh decided to kill off all children, that all male children that were born of the womb, she went on, and it was firstborn males at that time. But anyway, the males that were born, they went on and hid Moses inside of a little basket made of reeds, and they sent him up. They sent him down a river, and he ended up landing near Pharaoh's daughter, who then took him in and knew that it was a Hebrew child, but because she now had that child and she loved him, she took care of him and rose him up. And they drew him out of the water. Hence his name. Moses means to draw out of water, or drawn out of water. So he was taken out of the water, and he was raised in the house of Pharaoh. And every day, Moses it was understood that he was not Egyptian. He was Hebrew, but he had all the riches and the wealth and everything else. Nature versus nurture, role defining moments. It came a point in time when he saw his people being hurt in the fields, and he had a choice, and he made the choice. He said, all right, I want to stand up for the Hebrews, and I want to stop the atrocities that are happening. And because of that, he ended up fleeing out of Egypt after he ended up murdering or fighting for a Hebrew man and killing the Egyptian in that struggle. So I think that the role being defined by ourselves or the outside community, I want to say that Eusebius, that it can be both. It can absolutely be both. But when that time comes up where we make a choice, that's going to be the telltale sign. So accountability at that point in time, in that type of scenario and situation, is all on yourself, because you have the mind to make those decisions. What'd you say, bro?
I told you by yourself. I think you got to define yourself.
Yeah.
I think a person needs to define yourself. If you want any kind of peace of mind, like this is between you and God. You and God, and God's already put it out there, and you just need to find it. Know thyself. Know thyself. All right, let's get into it. We got accountability with your environment. That's probably what I should have put.
Yeah, that's all right. That's kind of what we just hit too. We ended up hitting both of those.
Look at you, Eusebius, already.
He's loaded, man.
Already talking to him. He got another accept responsibility of one action. Got it. So businesses that sell, this is a question. So businesses that sell bad products should not be penalized as long as they accept responsibility. I think if they have a bad product, I mean, they're gonna penalize themselves after a while, aren't they? And I'm not sure exactly what you mean by bad product. So if you can expound on what you mean by bad product, brother. While we go into our next topic, which is, did we do that? Accountability with people?
Yeah. Well, we kind of touched on it. I believe so. You know, that was a lot of what we just ended up covering right there. Accountability with people. But if you have some more that you want to put in there, but I know that when we went down that road, you know, and you gave the example of your little boy, and then we talked about the honesty with everyone, you know, so we kind of hit it a little bit. You got more for it?
Yeah, I'm big on my 95-5 rule right here.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I'm big. I'm big on the 95-5 rule, and I'm always refining this 95-5 rule. But essentially, for the purpose of this conversation, I almost feel as if everybody's not for you. So what's going to end up happening is that if I'm in a group, or if I want to get up at 3:30, and I'm just making this because we already spoke about it earlier, and Joel wants to get up at 5 o'clock, Joel can't really be responsible. I can't hold Joel accountable for getting me up at 3:30 if I'm looking for someone to get up at 3:30 with me, right? I can help Joel out because I'm already up at 3:30. And all I'm saying is that we're just at different stages. Once again, none is better than the other. We're just at different stages. He's at the 5. But because I'm up by 5 o'clock, I can always give him a call or say, hey, brother, you up? Or are you doing, if that was the case, if I'm looking for someone to be accountable with. But and this was interesting, and I want to bring this up. I'm going to share this. Let me see if I can share this real quick. Because I also said that no man is an island in regards to getting things done. And let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. So I wanted to share this study. Can you see this, brother?
It's still it's circling. It's on its way.
All right, let me know when you all can.
All right, you got it. You up?
All right, here we go. So they did a study. Who was it? Done by the American Society of Training and Development. And this is what they found out. Once you set a goal, which we spoke about earlier, setting your goals, your dynamic tasks, etc., you have a 6 to 8% chance of actually accomplishing these things. When you write it down, we always talk about that. Write it down and make it plain. That improves your chances to 25 to 30%. Now, this is powerful right here. By verbally sharing it with others, it sets up with 55 to 60%. And I think that's kind of where we are with the 3:30 and 5 o'clock. Because I don't think you necessarily have someone who you said we're both going to get up at 5 o'clock. Do you, brother?
No.
Right. And I don't have somebody that I'm necessarily saying I'm getting up at 3:30, but because we verbalize it with each other, we're more than likely going to, we're over 50% likely going to actually make
Succeed.
those things happen. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. And here's the most powerful thing. So now when you actually have someone that's getting up at 3:30 or someone who's getting up at 5, it increases it to 85%. And so
That's big. And that's, man, I mean, that's what we're talking about here, y'all. I mean, that's huge. I'm so glad you brought that in, because listen, y'all, this is one of the things that we've been sharing with on multiple occasions, is that last part, like having somebody there, a mentor, a coach, a friend, somebody that can also hold you accountable. And then getting back to that first thing that we brought up, which was understanding your role in the situation. When you have that other individual, clarity. It's like, hey, Mike, listen, I've been having a hard time getting up at 5:00. Just give me a buzz, man. Give me a phone call at 5. Now Mike knows exactly what his role is inside my life and helping me to keep myself accountable, because he is taking a portion of the accountability on himself. It doesn't diminish my own piece, but it adds something to it, which increases the opportunity of success. That's huge.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
huge.
And I wanted to go further with it. And so this is where kind of what Eusebius was talking about, it kind of all comes back together. For this person that you want to be or people or mentor, or hire a coach. A hired coach is there to keep you accountable. They're not there to cheer you on. You don't hire a business coach to cheer you on. You hire a business coach to hold you accountable for giving you steps in order to get to where you want to go. But if it's, let's say it's not, but even if it is a business coach, let me go back. Even if, whether it's a business coach or whether it's a mentor, I said that they should be moving in the same direction, or they should be at a point where the direction that you intend on going in that direction. They should have similar morals. They should have similar ethics. And then you got some people who are money oriented or something. So maybe that's what you need at the time to hold you accountable for what's going on in that way. And this accountability should kind of bring everybody together, right? So everybody who's being accountable if you're looking for an accountability partner, they should have this, and they should also be reliable. Because one of the worst things that can happen is if you have someone who's supposed to be your accountability partner and they start to backslide. Because what can therefore happen is that you can start to backslide. I'm like Anna. Anna says, when working with people that share accountability, you should trust that person. 1,000%.
I love it.
Good,
Okay,
yeah.
so Anna, great job. I'm glad that she's amazing. So listen, dude. So let me put this piece out there too, because I'm gonna go back to the whole thing about morals, right? Because, all right, I got a physical trainer. I go out there and see this dude, right? And he helps me. I'm looking for a very specific thing from him. And it's not the character that he has outside of the job. I don't know about that character. I don't ask him about those things. I just want him to be there on time. I want him to act the right way when he's around me, and I want him to train me correctly and teach me along the way, So I don't know if this dude, like, I can't tell you if he's got a good moral compass. I just don't know. But he's my partner. I pay him. I pay this guy. So I think that, it's good. It's good. It's a beautiful thing, especially like in our type of partnership. The reason why it works so well is because, because our moral compass is so close and because we're genuine between one another. But there are some relationships when the relationship is only about X, Y, Z. And so, I mean, you can always expose the other pieces. I mean, getting back to the whole company thing, a bad product, held liable, that type of thing. If anyone produces a bad product and sells it, I mean, I would think that they need to be held liable, But as long as my physical trainer is producing something good in my eyesight for me, then I don't know. I'm not there to judge what he does afterwards. And then, like you were saying earlier, Mike, that definitely is a judgment, and it's different because him going out to a party and drinking alcohol, I don't do that. So do I say, you know what, I don't want to have him in my corner because he does that, afterwards? Maybe he goes out, has 2 drinks, and then catches an Uber home, and everything is okay with. I don't know. Maybe he cusses when he walks out of the door. I don't know. That's not a part of my moral compass. So there's a latitude there. Is he out there, murdering people? I don't want to have nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? I don't have anything to do with that. So I don't know. When we start talking about that moral compass, though,
I think you're going in a different direction than what I was talking about. So
maybe I am. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is with the task at hand. So
okay, I'm with you.
Yeah. So you're right. So it's like the task at hand. So like let's say it's you and I decide that we're workout partners. Let's say that we're workout partners, and because we want to be held accountable for each other's workout. Some of the things that you named, whether I'm cursing or you don't want me showing up drunk for the workout, that's fine. What you decide to do outside of me is, we're not, I'm not saying that people don't have their own lives. Like what people do with their own lives, what they do with their own lives. I meant in regards. So maybe I should have clarified it more for the task at hand. When when I ask you to hold me accountable, like within, whether it's business, whether it's working out, it could be as simple as just getting up in the morning, whatever it is. When you ask me to do this, and for the task at hand, we should all have, we should be on similar levels, or if that makes not similar levels, because obviously.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like your statement, birds of a feather flock together.
Right.
We should be at least within inside of the same compass.
While we are engaged in whatever it is that we decided to be held accountable for each other, because you're accountable to your job, people at your job, right? What happens, because you all have duties and certain things that you have to do. However, when you go outside of it, you know what I mean? Like you can't tell a person that you work with what they can and can't do necessarily in their own personal life. I'm sure there are some certain codes. I'm sure there's certain codes, but you're not calling somebody up on a Friday night and say, "Hey, listen, I hope you're not doing what I think you do." But when you come together on Saturday to get the job done, you would hope that you all are the same mind. Does that make sense?
1,000%. I hope that there's some business owners out there. Listen, I never say it, but I'm gonna say it today. Mike just dropped some gems right there for the business owners that are prying too much, too deeply inside their employees' lives. Leave them people alone, unless what they are doing is negatively affecting the business. Leave them alone. Good grief, man. Because sometimes these business owners, and I don't mean like getting wild and crazy. I mean, carrying out, okay, so on your personal time, I want you to wear a mask. That type of stuff. We're dealing with the COVID lifestyle right now, Mike. Telling your employees that when they go home, they need to wear a mask around their family. Are you out of your mind?
I didn't know that was going on. Let me see. Anna says the thing about morals is that there will be human error, but all in all, there is no bad person. It's just how they adapted to their environment. I can definitely see some truth there. I like to err on the side of people being good. I err on the side of people being good. Now, there's a small percentage of the population that have, things that might be inherently evil. But I don't necessarily know if I came across them or not. Maybe I have, but I err on the side of the majority of people being good. However, people are different. And then, like Anna said, people do make mistakes. So we do have to take that into consideration. I got two more things before we move on, brother. I got Brother Eusebius dropped a quote too. He said, accountability breeds responsibility. Amen. I
like it. I
love that. And then the last quote I have from him is it's not only what we do, but also what we do not do.
Absolutely.
Which we are accountable. Yep.
Right.
1000%. And
That's
he said human nature is selfish.
We got a couple more topics because I wanted to throw a couple more out there too, but we might have to do a part 2 on it. So tell me what you got.
We left it we have you had this up here, so I'm curious to know about this. That was on there.
No, I didn't.
Did you mean to put that on there?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I think that ended it. Accountability with people was the last one.
Okay, so I'll throw a couple of things up there. We can talk about it in brief session, and then we can move on out the way. Because I want to get back to some of the things that we need to do. To show ourselves as accountable. All right, so this is one of them right here. And then so y'all, we need to manage our time wisely. We got to do that. You got to manage your time because if you're going to be accountable for something, you got to manage your time. It's an attribute of personal accountability. Excellent time management skills will take you far. When you lack resources to complete a task or lacking the motivation to complete a task because it doesn't challenge you, or avoiding confrontation because of a problem, or if you're a procrastinator, all of those things lessen your ability to be accountable. Listen, y'all, if you don't know how to do something, then speak up. Say it out loud. Listen, I don't know how to do everything, and I'm not going to sit there and hide behind that because, I'm working on my vision. I'm working on my vision plan. There's certain places I want to reach by May 2023. I have a specific goal that I am looking to reach, and I am committed to that goal. And everything that I do right now, I have a dynamic task list that I am accomplishing daily. I have to make one up daily to go along with my strategy and my tactics for the year and the month, because I'm looking to get there. So I don't have time for just not knowing and not looking or seeking out that education. Like we had stated before, a man of understanding will seek unto wise counsel. I'm looking for people that know more than me, and I'm not afraid to work with somebody who knows more than me. I'm not afraid of that, and I'm not afraid to admit when I don't know something, but I'm also advocating learning. I got to get it. I need to take that in, because what I do, I do well, and there's a lot of things that I don't do well. And I need to at least understand the concept of those things. But managing my time, that's huge. So I know I went on a little tangent within that, managing the time. But the bottom line is, you have to start gaining these management skills of your time. Wasted time is never going to help you, and many people are wasting time all over the place, all over the world. And especially that little cell phone. Go ahead.
I like how you threw that little cell phone in there. That cell phone is something serious, man. I mean, that cell phone is not a game if you check your time on it. Shouts out to Kenyatta. Kenyatta says one has to be attached to their vision and be clear on their values. Amen. Clarity will get you there, people. Shouts out. Yeah. Good
love
stuff.
Love it. We started off with that, Kenyatta. We started off with clarity. That's real important. That that whole vision plan, that's a big, big, big deal, especially for those y'all who are looking to achieve some higher level of self or business or whatever. Go ahead.
Write it down, make it, and repeat it.
Repeat,
And,
this is huge. That's huge. You know,
right.
I mean, like, boom. Can you see it?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Write it down, repeat it. Set an alarm clock to it so you can have it every day. You should be writing down your vision, your goals, just so that you can continue moving through it. Because you got to review it. And the only way you can review it and that's the best way to review it. I'm telling you. And I don't like to write. I hate it. I always used to think, oh, I got it in my mind. I know exactly what it is that I want to do. And nothing moves. You don't move the needle because you forget about it. The phone comes up, everything. So always try to write it down as much as possible. Kenyatta also said, having a why big enough to see it all the way through is key. Here's something, people.
Yeah.
What Kenyatta is saying is the truth. And I heard someone talk about it the other day when they were talking about their why. They said that when they speak about their why, or this person said when they feel like a person talks about their why, it should almost bring them to tears. Like you should be getting emotional about what it is that you're gonna that what you plan to accomplish, what a goal that you want to see it. And I'm not a huge emotional person, but when I think about my why, it's kind of like it brings me out of whatever mode it is. You know, I don't feel like doing this thing right now. I'm making cold calls right now. Let me tell you something.
Here it go. Here it go, y'all.
Let me tell you something. For the first, I had the system and I had it sitting there. It took me like 2 weeks. And what I had to do is, and you can't see it behind what I'm looking at, but I had to put up, I got pictures of my sisters back there. I got a picture of my son, both of my sons sitting back there. And then I got a picture, it's just those are my whys. My mom is sitting back there. So whenever I sit down or when I stand up to make my calls, because you got this drunk monkey, this mind that's telling you that, that's coming up with all kinds of situations why you shouldn't do it. Creative avoidance is huge. But then you take a look back there and you say, okay, I know what I'm working towards. That's my why. So it has to be huge. Keep it in front of you. Put it in your car. Put it on the mirror when you're brushing your teeth. Any place that you frequent the most. For some, I'm gonna be mean. Put it on the refrigerator. The refrigerator door. And I'm telling you, you start to move the needle. Kenyatta join us, man. I love Kenyatta.
Just say on that too. Why fuels your purpose?
Yeah.
Why fuels your purpose? So it's definitive. Those are actions. And putting that down on paper reminds you. Because like I said before, we can be passionate about something, but sometimes we get passionate about something else and we leave whatever we were doing back in the dust. Why fuels your purpose? It gives you reason.
Yeah. Look, Kenyatta wrote, your why is your purpose.
There it is. We on the same page.
Yep.
On the same page right there. That's the deal, And so if you're in a business, understand this, you need to have two purposes. If you're running a business, you need to have two of them, right? Because you need to have a personal one, right? You need to have, this is like Mike was saying, it's my kids, my sisters, whatever it is, that's your why, that's your purpose right there. But then as a business, your business has to have the attributes of its own why, and that's going to be, some of that is going to be a part of yours, but there's going to be a broader scope of things when it comes to that. So just think about that whenever you all are creating your business and whatnot. And this helps keep you accountable, because whenever you go to that purpose, you're going to come back to the reason why you're doing what you're doing. And it reinvigorates, just like you were saying, was that you, Mike, or was that Kenyatta who was saying that it should bring you to tears?
I was saying it should bring you to tears, but Kenyatta also went. When I get into tears, I look at the picture of my mom in my office of my mom. But yeah, I did say your why should bring you to, it doesn't necessarily have to bring you to tears. I'm not a big crier. I'm not in here crying, people.
Yeah,
might
neither
cry.
am I. I'm not a big crier neither. But my whole point was
Right,
not
but
that
it should be
to
make
bring
you
it to
emotional.
tears.
Right.
But just remember, your passion is something. Is like it. That is a high state of emotion, right? And whenever you reach that high state of emotion, there's a chemical release that happens inside of your mind, and you get energy that you didn't realize you had in the beginning. So your passion is fuel. It is fuel, you know.
Use it.
And
Use it.
if you can tap that fuel when you're low, then you can still keep on driving that purpose, you know, that vehicle. You can still keep driving it because you're able to tap it when you're running low on fuel. So just remember that having that purpose and repeating it, you know, sometimes you'll go down that road, you know, I'm doing this because of XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, your passion appears. And it's like you're filling up your tank. You're ready to go because it gives you this drive on the inside, you know. So stick with that. These are big things, big things, big things. You know, it's about mindset, y'all. It's about mindset. I mean, no matter where we go with this thing, it's still going to come back to you have to transform your mind. You have to transform your mind. If you cannot transform your mind, you're going to be like a robot, bebop, bebop, beboop, all that type of stuff. And you're just going about life lazily, you know, haphazardly.
Yep. You can't imagine the amount of people who go out about life subconsciously. It's incredible. It's incredible. So manage your time wisely. Real quick, just a little bit, something to give you about managing your time wisely. Just a little bit. You need to prioritize. Joe talks about your dynamic task list. Joe, I definitely talk about your revenue generating activities. If we're talking about money, but we're talking, but it might not necessarily be money. So high value might be a better word for it or a better term for it, because it might be something you trying to move forward in your growth. It might be something you trying to move forward spiritually, whatever it may be. You need to prioritize whatever it is in your life. And me and Joe did it yesterday. Give me a 1 to 10. Because we started off by saying important, very important, not important. Like we can easily put it, but that's subjective. Really get objective about what it is. 10, I care about it more than anything else in this world. I'll die for this. 1, even when somebody brings it up, I don't even want it means nothing to me. I don't want to talk about it. And as soon as that thought is done. So
it's lower than a penny on the ground. I ain't picking it up.
Okay, so cool. Now we got know your limits. This is deep. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So knowing your limits. Listen, this also goes back to being especially accountable of partners, and also my example of seeking out that knowledge, right? So you got to understand where you're not so successful at. Don't take too much on your hands that you cannot accomplish it. Now, Mike, you just started to dig into that, having a priority list, having a dynamic task list, having a high value, completing high value activities. Those things are important to push your purpose through to your vision. They're important. And there's going to be times when you're so low where it feels like there ain't nowhere to go. It ain't going to work out, but that purpose will still give you drive. And those 3 things that we just mentioned are going to help you to stay focused and going forward. But you got to know your limits. You have to be mindful of your schedule. You have to be determined to, if you have skills, resources, the time to complete the project on time, you have to dedicate those things. And then you have to set up that list, a dynamic list. And then you have to open up your mind to what's actually on your plate, and manage yourself individually. Do you even have the resources to complete the task? Like we want to do a live stream. Do you even have a phone or a camera or whatever? Do you have the product to even put the live stream up there? If you don't have those things, how are you ever going to be able to do it? You want to complete a 5K. Do you even have a pair of tennis shoes? I mean, I guess you can do it without tennis shoes. I mean, I don't know. Do you want to? But sometimes it's very simple. Sometimes it's very simple. And then sometimes it could be more dynamic, where you don't understand how to work Google, or you don't understand how to work CRM, or you don't understand how to work YouTube or stuff like that. Know your limits. Find somebody who knows how to do that stuff. Get them on board with you, and then let them teach you. You don't have to be the guru of everything. You need to learn along your way. So know your limits, y'all. Make the changes that are important.
Yeah, I agree, concur 1000%. Someone did say today, in regards to, they say your strengths got you to where you are. And then they said your weaknesses, if you want to move to the next step, then you have to start working on your weaknesses. And I don't know necessarily, and this was a very successful person. I don't know exactly how much I agree with that, but it was an interesting concept for people to think about. Let me see what Anna wrote something. She said, what advice would you give to the people that don't have the why in their life yet?
So are you going to answer that?
No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Okay, so two things. First, Anna's thing, right? Put it back up on the screen just so I can make sure I'm answering it the right way. So the first thing is like, for people that don't know what their why is, it takes seeking. You got to find that. Life can be so overwhelming. We can lose our direction. We can lose our purpose. We can lose our why, or we can essentially, never find it. Especially as we're being groomed, we're growing older. Listen, I wasn't like this, 20 years ago. I wasn't like this, but I did find a why, and that why ended up eventually getting me here. So your why will change with development and with experience and with knowledge and with circumstances. And so that's why it's important to also have a purpose. So there's a few different ways to help you find your why. You can do it in solitude. Mike was talking about self-time, meditation, reading, these different types of things, quieting your mind, and then finding that source of energy that kind of moves upward into your thought process, into your heart. And it gives you this joy, this overwhelming peace, this understanding, this purpose begins to percolate, just like a coffee being brewed, or a tea kettle, the water boiling, and it begins to percolate, and then it changes from that water in the tea kettle to steam, and it lets off a whistle. All of a sudden, it's like light bulb goes on, because all of a sudden purpose is found. So that's one way. Another way is exploring this, through religion, exploring this through prayer and guidance, through a pastor, or what have you. And then another way is also seeking out somebody. As I said before, when you're a man of understanding will seek unto wise counsel. So seeking out that wise counsel that is able to help ask the appropriate questions and to get your mind thinking about the things that you desire inside your own heart, that will help to broaden your understanding and hopefully formulate your why. So those would be the three answers that I would give you right there, Anna. And then, of course, I'll help you a whole lot. Exactly. She got me 1000%. That's exactly the word that I was thinking. You could have been in my mind, King Yada. You could have been in my mind. You could have been, because what I was getting at in that last part was a coach. You find a coach or mentor that helps to bring that out. But a coach is what they do. That's what I do. That's what I help people do. So I got your back on that, and I'll help you out with that.
Let me speak to that point too.
Do your thing, bro.
Just briefly, because we got a hard stop coming up.
Okay.
Listen. All of the most successful people,
get it,
and most people who are the best in whatever, whatever career, the different industries, they all have coaches. They all have coaches. And for the life of me, I don't know why it took me so long to get it. I guess it wasn't presented to me. But once I got it, I got it. I have a real estate coach. I have a business coach. You understand? Like, and I pay these people to make me more successful. I only know what I know, and a coach is going to, and I can find out. I'm one of the most resourceful people that you may meet. Go digging deep into YouTube and all like that is fun to me. I can spend months there. At the same time, it's like the coach is going to be that shortcut because we don't have time to try to figure out a lot of these different things. Most of these paths have already been made. It's like there's a road. How about that? That might be the easiest thing. You are walking through the forest. All these obstacles in your way, you got to move them out your way. And all you have to do is just go over a little bit and pay the toll on the road to get to where you need to get to going faster. That's it. Or do you want to continue going over here and moving all these rocks and moving all these trees and bushes and chopping through this jungle when if you just go over here and you're on the road that's already laid. Now all you got to do is just jump, and then you might even, if you have a really good coach, you're jumping in the car and you're going to get into your destination. That's how fast the coach gets you there. And now you can see you got this different peer view. You got somebody that's there to kind of help direct you. A Siri of sorts. Listen, get a coach, man. Go ahead and pay for it. Figure it out. You can't afford not to. That's why you spinning your wheels. A lot of us are spinning our wheels. Oh my God. Somebody hurt my heart today. I saw something. I saw something today. I was telling people I'm going through this empathy thing. I'm just feeling really, really. I just got these feelings for people. Like I would just wish I could help them. I don't know. Somebody told me it was the baby. They said the baby got you feeling this way, Mike. But I saw this person doing something, and they're doing the same thing they did 10 years ago. You can't continue doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It's crazy. Go get you a coach, man. You're not gonna listen to me.
That's it, Mike. Let me share my screen. Give me the rights over there.
I don't know how I can do. I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, you don't think so? Let me see what happens.
If you want to send me something, because I don't think it allows me like a Zoom kind of deal.
Yeah, it'll give me an opportunity.
Okay, well then I don't know, whatever I got to press, just tell me.
Now, it should be down at the bottom, share.
Okay, let me see. I got share.
Okay, I got it. You see it? Now just pick it up out of the back.
Okay,
out of the back of it. Should be a picture of us. Y'all see that? You see that, Mike?
There. Is that what I'm looking at?
You see a lady and it says Forbes on it?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm there.
Okay. Listen, y'all. This is right out of Forbes. It's called this is March 28th, 2019. How does coaching actually help leaders? Let me show you this. Anna, this for you, for everybody else out there. This is the reason why I got into coaching, because I have something to give y'all. This is huge. And we're looking for people to have more freedom and more ability to do the things that they desire to do and be stronger at those things and to be able to get there faster, like Mike was just saying. All right. Coaching with leaders and within organization is often cited as a highly valuable tool for developing people and businesses. The Institute of Coaching cites that over 70% of individuals who receive coaching benefited from improved work performance, relationships, and more effective communication skills. They also report that a huge 86% of companies feel that they recoup the investment they have made into coaching plus more on top. Go ahead, you can take it off. Y'all see that? I mean, so listen, this thing is real. It's real, because like I have a physical trainer. I pay this dude, because I'm looking for results and I need sustainable results. So a man of understanding will seek unto wise counsel. That's where that comes from. That's what it is. And there's a lot of people who are not doing this. They don't want to. They think they got all the answers inside their brain. And some companies are being run into the dirt because there's somebody in that company that thinks that they can solve the world's issues. They think they've got every single answer, and they don't. And there's nothing wrong with saying that I don't have it. Know your limitations. This is part of accountability. When you know your limitations, you'll go out and you'll look for somebody who can help inspire you or the people around you to give their all and to do their best. When that happens, the sky's the limits. I mean, listen, Tenacity Foundation, come see me.
Listen, man, let's wrap this thing up. I got a director in the background that's telling me I need to wrap it up.
All right. And we may have to do a part 2 because I still had a little bit more to go through, but we got to stay on time.
I'm just taking orders from I'm following the orders, man. But it's definitely been a pleasure.
You got an accountability coach back there.
I'm just the talent. I'm just a pretty face. I'm just the talent. I'm a pretty face. I'm just following directions. Listen, man, this has been fun. I enjoyed it, brother, as always. People, listen, this is some wise stuff going on. I was hard-headed for a while and thought I could do it on my own as well. One of the things I spoke about was no man is an island. And if a man was an island, I tried. I'm telling you, I tried hard. I tried to read every book, tried to do everything. But when I started getting coached, when I started getting around different people, mindset changed and lifted. So my final thoughts about that, and anybody tell you, have a conversation with me. A lot of you all need to call me.
Call them.
Or have a DM conversation. I'm telling you, it's a whole different world out here. And I just want everyone to be a part of it. I don't want to go there, but we don't want to be there by ourselves.
No.
You know what I mean? We don't want to be there by ourselves. But I love you guys. Real Estate Mike Seville, Real Estate on Instagram. Of course, you got Michael Seville on Facebook. And I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna throw it over to Joe, so I don't get in trouble.
Hey man, I just looked in the back chat. Anna was on us, man. I love it. I missed it, man. I was talking so much. People sleep on your shows, Mike. I appreciate you. That's awesome. Write that down, man. Write that down. They won't keep sleeping because we're gonna blast it. Put it on blast. Mike's always bringing the real stuff. Listen, I definitely thank you all for your time and for being with us, Kenyatta, Anna, Eusebius, and the many others who may have chimed in or who may have taken watch to what we were doing but didn't actually chime in. I'm the Motivatorpreneur on TikTok, Tenacity_Foundation on Instagram, and we're building out some more things, especially now that I got a little bit of help, be able to work that a little bit better. So reach out to me if you need me. Joel at tenacityfoundation.com. Joel at tenacityfoundation.com. I'm an inspirational life coach and a motivational keynote speaker. So I'm ready to help wherever I can.
Love you guys, man. We'll see you next week.
No. You have to go inside and you find something that makes you happy, whatever it is, and you just let it out.
But improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.